Tomorrow, the Detroit City Council will be holding a public meeting to discuss a controversial proposal to expand a curfew for this coming weekend.
All right, that curfew would begin Friday night when the annual River Days Festival starts. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, the curfew would last from 8 p.m. through 6 a.m. This would only impact the downtown area, defined as from I-375 to the Detroit River from Shane to the Lodge. Then on Monday night, there would be a slightly earlier curfew for the actual annual fireworks show, which starts at 6 o'clock, and that curfew would cover the whole city.
The expanded curfew has drawn a lot of criticism from an unusual coalition, including the ACLU, the NAACP, and the Detroit News' Nolan Finley.
Speaking of which, in a column last week, Nolan wrote, and we'll quote him here on this one, instead of focusing on getting the bad people out, which this curfew would do, flood the parks with good people. The theory is troublemakers don't want to do bad things around good people. So let's engage the best people in our city to connect with 4 or 5 kids each and bring them on downtown for a special experience.
That helped launch some very high-level meetings about how to make this happen, and even got Reverend Wendell Anthony to say he and Nolan agreed on something.
Yeah, our editorial director, Chuck Stokes, has been a part of those discussions. Okay, so first of all, who is all in the room here, and what did they talk about?
Well, you know, it was a packed room. I would say 25 to 30 people. Very diverse coalition, representatives of the business coalition, the business community, downtown Detroit development, strategic staffing solutions, but you also had community organizations. You had organizations representing the Skillman Foundation, the clergy. At one point you had Chief Craig, you had Reverend Wendell Anthony with the Detroit NAACP there the entire time, and towards the end of this meeting you had City Council President Brenda Jones. And you also had the ACLU there, so I mean you had a little bit of everything.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah,
you
right.
had a lot of people. But you know what's interesting, and tomorrow you're going to probably see Chief Craig and perhaps some members of the City Council and maybe Reverend Wendell Anthony and others maybe respectfully agree to disagree on the particulars of the curfew. But they were able to go to a higher plane, and that was to say, how can we make this a special event for young people of this city? How can they come down and enjoy it, but still make sure that as police chief, I run a safe city? Because at the end of the day, the chief is going to be judged by the mayor and everybody else on the hardcore numbers.
And Nolan Finley, what he was saying was get people from all over, you know, adults to take a group of kids down and go downtown and flood the area. Well, is that what they were talking about today, trying to mobilize people?
They were talking about couple key things. One was, how do we get volunteers? Because we know that this is, as we oftentimes say, this is a village. Yeah. Not everybody has a responsible adult, for whatever reason, that can bring them to an event such as this. So you want to make sure that they're participating, but how do you do it in a respectful way? So we said, let's get the churches involved, let's get volunteers of all different walks of life, let's get people who were involved in the Angels Night. Detroit 300 said that they would step up to the plate. A lot of them, the UAW, many other people were coming in, and bring them down maybe in groups, and then also be able to have volunteers wearing maybe a special vest or something so that they're clearly identified as adults, and they become the eyes and ears. They do not become the police department. Right. They're not going to do that work.
I need a 10-second answer here.
Yeah.
Are they going to listen to all these concerns of this village and then just do what they want, or are they going to modify this thing to look more like what the village wants?
Oh, I think that they're listening to a lot of diverse people today, and I think you're going to see this city do what it does best. It's going to come together, they're going to figure out a tough situation, and at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a very special event, and I think it will set the tone for what we do next year. Exactly. So perhaps there doesn't even have to be a curfew next year because so many places, so many people are involved, so many volunteers are involved.
Can't wait to see what happens with it. We'll follow the vote tomorrow and everything.
Thanks.
Chuck, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Always good to see you.
Yeah, certainly. You know, money orders.